Body planes. When you see a picture like that, uh, it means that the body was cut in a certain way, or portion of the body, head in this case, and it was cut in a certain way to show you the inner portion, so you could study some inner organs and structures of the head. There are several ways how a human body can be cut to show internal structures, and those are called planes. So plane is a flat surface along which body or structure is cut for anatomical study. Here are the planes. First would be the sagittal plane. That plane divides body vertically into the right and left parts, and it produces a sagittal section. So if we cut that body that way in the middle, and then we'll look at what happens, what we receive, it will be a sagittal section. When sagittal plane goes right through the center of the body, through the tip of the nose down, it is called mid-sagittal or median plane. You need to know both terms. When the same cut, dividing the body into the left and right portions, goes somewhere on the side, it would be called parasagittal plane. For example, to study an eye, we have to make a parasagittal plane right through the eye. Next one, frontal or coronal plane. It divides the body into the anterior and posterior parts and produces a frontal section. Then we have transverse or horizontal plane. It divides the body horizontally into superior and inferior parts. It produces a cross section. You can make the transverse plane through the head to study the brain, or through the thoracic cavity to study the lungs and the heart, or through the abdominal cavity to study the organs of the abdominal cavity. And still it will be transverse plane, and still it will produce a cross section. Finally, there is an oblique section. It's when a cut made diagonally through the body. It doesn't happen often, but sometimes you can see oblique section. Anatomical variability. If you look at each other, we all look different. If you look at our ears, noses, eyes, they all look different. That is called anatomical variability. And inside of us, all our organs and anatomical structures also look slightly different. About 90% of all structures inside of the human body match textbook descriptions, but sometimes there can be some variants. For example, some small muscles may be missing. The location of blood vessels can be also different. That is aorta, the largest artery of the body starting from the heart, and location and amount of blood vessels originating from aorta usually is like is shown in this picture, but anatomical variability can produce some different variants. Some people can have 3 kidneys instead of 2. Some people can have 1 kidney. Most of people have 2 kidneys. Body cavities. Body cavities are spaces inside of the body containing our organs. Dorsal cavity would be this one. It has the orange color. So dorsal cavity, it's where our nervous system, central nervous system, is located. There are 2 subdivisions to the dorsal cavity. Right here would be a cranial cavity, which encases brain, and this one inside of the vertebral canal will be vertebral cavity, which has a spinal cord. So together they make a dorsal cavity. We also have a ventral cavity right here. Let's go to the next slide. So that is a ventral cavity right here. And the ventral cavity houses our internal organs. It has two main subdivisions separated by diaphragm. Right here there is a diaphragm. Everything what is superior to the diaphragm, above it, would be thoracic cavity. Right here is thoracic cavity. Here is thoracic cavity. Everything what is beneath the diaphragm will be abdominal pelvic cavity. Here is abdominal pelvic cavity. So inside of the thoracic cavity there will be some smaller cavities. On the left and on the right, that's on the right, that's on the left, there will be two pleural cavities which contain left and right lungs. Then between them, at the top portion, will be a structure called mediastinum. It has pericardial cavity, surrounds thoracic organs right here. That is a superior mediastinal. In the lower portion of mediastinal, we have pericardial cavity that encloses the heart. So please know the location of each cavity and what organs are located in them. Also, pay attention that each cavity can be located inside of another cavity. For example, pericardial cavity containing the heart is located inside of the thoracic cavity, and thoracic cavity is a part of the ventral cavity. Now we're going down to the abdominal pelvic cavity. It is divided into two cavities. Abdominal, which has a lot of our digestive organs: stomach, intestines, spleen, liver, large and small intestine, and also pelvic cavity. Pelvic cavity is right inside of the pelvis right here, and it has urinary bladder, reproductive organs, mostly female reproductive organs, and rectum. Right now, please stop the lecture and test your understanding of the body cavities. Please answer those matching questions, write down your answers, pay attention that more than one choice may apply, and the correct answers will be given at the end of the lecture.